Okay, hi. I hope you're doing fine. I just wanted to show you this plant and tell me what you actually notice. For some people who do not recognize it, it's an aloe vera. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to show you this is for you to notice how scattered the branches are. You see all the tips, they're going towards their own direction. And there is one here who actually got burned a little bit from the light that was under it. And there is, like before, I don't know how I did it, but I actually pressed it against the window. It was near the window because I always try to put it near the sun. And I accidentally closed it. And now the plant is permanently marked by what I did with the window. No matter how hard I tried to, I knew that if I forced it too much, I would literally hurt the rest of the plant. So I just let that part be. But you see how skinny it is? And brownish and burnt. Why did I show this plant? Because for some kind of reason, it made me think a lot about us human beings. But at the very same time, you being the plant owner, you still want to take care of it. You know the potential of it. You also know that you can also cut it strategically for it to regrow. And you also know that you know the needs of your plant, right? You know that for it to thrive, you need a lot of sunlight for this particular plant, right? For that species. You have to understand one thing. Some other plants need more water, where some they need more sunlight. Okay, this plant particularly could not intake too much water. But something that I noticed in my environment, I have a lot of sun exposure during the day, but I don't, because it has a lot of what it needs, I tend to forget a little bit about it, and I'll forget sometimes to actually keep up the schedule in watering the plant. Because yes, it needs less water, but it still needs enough to do its job. And lately, I've been seeing how it's been doing. The plant has grown. The environment makes it to be like he's more on the sunlight, and initially I kept up with the watering, but I noticed something. Since I started relying too much on its ability to adapt quickly and do its best, I still wasn't mindful of the health of the water schedule and even the condition in which it grew. Because I noticed that I didn't notice it, but the plant was started to be located in not very strategic places around my desk office. I tried to do a room tour one day, and I felt like this is an imagery of what it feels like to be I would say to I have an expression, but I can only think of it in French. Okay, I try to say it. It's a bit like an expression that I know is actually from the Bible, being en paix et sûreté. So it means that you think everything is fine, but if you don't be careful, if you're not careful, you might miss some important stuff, and you'll be surprised with the negative outcomes because you were too complacent to, you were not aware enough. You were, for lack of better words, I'm just expressing to you guys to be careful. Whatever you're going through right now, whatever is going well, however, you still need to keep tabs on you. You still need to check up on yourself from time to time. You still need to sit, slow down, and maybe have that time for you. Reflect, journal. How am I doing? How is your loved one doing? How is your family doing? Whatever you care about. How is your... Are you doing well at your university? For some of you who are students, are you studying something that is actually aligned with what you want to do? Are you doing okay? Is your health okay? Did you do a checkup lately? Is your faith okay? For my Christians, my fellow Christians, for example. This is actually what I really wanted to get into this video for. Faith. I noticed something. I read something just 5 minutes ago, and I turned on my camera to never forget it. I felt compelled because I was reading something I knew I was not willing to apply. I knew how important it was. I knew how on point this was about my life, but I still refused. I reminded myself, I knew what I felt when I read those words. I was like, I'm not applying this. And this is where I got scared of me, because this is the moment I am en paix et sûreté. What does that actually mean? Paix et sûreté is like, if it has to be a literal translation, right, it would be in peace and safety. I don't think it exists in English, but it's just an expression that says that you think you're doing so well, huh? Okay, check yourself before you wreck yourself. So you have to understand, this is not some kind of self-manipulation into scaring you. It's just you being brutally honest with yourself. And I try to be mature with my life and also my own faith. I do believe, like, okay, this video is mainly for my Christian people in the context of Christianity and life of faith. If you are a non-believer, if you are even of another religion, if you are interested and curious and there are things that you can apply onto your life, don't hesitate to go up to the end. But please mind you, I'm only going to use vocabulary, and I'll be assuming that my viewers, you guys, are at least in the known. Like, this is not shocking, like, you know what I'm talking about, the context in which I'm talking about. So obviously, as a human being, you have free will, you also have a brain, turn it on. You can also have to understand that there is a context to everything. And when you read, and critical thinking is your best friend. And God even put in the Bible that He doesn't want, I always say to all my people, all my fellow Christian friends and family friends, when you don't understand what you believe in, it's just a superstition. It starts to be a belief when it's based on something that you understand, or at least you have something tangible on this belief. Understanding something doesn't necessarily mean you realize everything, the depth of it. It just means that you've got something to grab to. And this is what I mean by being tangible. What I told you in my older videos, in the 28 tips or lessons I wish I knew before I was 28, or at least I knew or never really applied or forgot, or is a good reminder. I made an hour video of it, very detailed. But what I was mainly saying was the fact that when you read the Bible, one of the tips was focused on how to read your Bible. And I noticed that a lot we are focused in getting to know the works of God, how God works and stuff, and getting to know God in a grand scheme of things. And I'm speaking to me personally, and people who need to hear this, sometimes you just need to know God for your life, how it applies to you. Not focus on the anecdotes of what other human beings have done, but in the grand scheme of things, how does it apply to you? What do you need to do now? How does it help you yesterday? What I mean by that is the fact that it cannot just be a foreign thing. It has to be something very fusional with you. So, in order for you to be a walking Bible, the example of the Bible, you also need to be able to understand what you read. And I understood very well that in the end of the day, blood has been shed for the gospel today. The martyrs, and Jesus, the disciples, all these people, they literally put their life on the line for us today to have the word translated in all those languages, in order for us to live the reality and be in the scheme of the plan of God that is still carrying on. You have to understand that it's not over. There are still stuff going on. And recently I was meditating something in the chats. We have group chats, and I have opportunities to have like a lot of could have verses, like mental notes, to basically stay connected. My church put that in place. And sometimes if you want, you can check it out. It's like some people scroll on social media. Me, sometimes I like to be feeding myself with things that are going to help me. So I know that I have a goal to be closer to God through His Word. So I'm trying to set myself up by checking more often everything that is word related, but not garbage. I'm trying to make sure that at least it is of quality, right? And sorry, I don't know if you hear, but I sniff a lot because right now my sign, how you say in English? I basically I have hay fever, and boy, right now I have a garden right outside. There's a lot of nature right at my door, at my window. So there's a lot of flowers, a lot of water. Listen, I'm suffering. There's a lot of sunlight, a lot of nature, but for people with high fever, it's a bit complicated. Anyway, all that to say that in this particular channel, this group, there was a word that I read that made me realize something. Is the fact that you can't expect to want to be saved. When I mean saved, okay, I have to be careful because I know there's a lot of people who are on towards. Listen, I understand the whole concept of you only need to believe in Jesus and you're saved. Listen to me. The Bible doesn't condone spiritual laziness. You have to understand that. So depending on your mindset, depending on how honest you're going to be with yourself, you will have to realize that God is not playing with us, okay? God is not playing with us. There are things that He kind of expects from us. He expects us to grow gradually. He expects us to make mistakes. But we can't act as if our standards are pick and choosing. You can't just pick and choose what you want in the Bible. Let me tell you this. I'm speaking to myself as well. And right now, I found myself doing that lately because He wasn't even specific about, like, I realized reading the passage that I was trying to convince myself that God will understand. And no, en fait. No. You have to understand that God is God. He's sovereign. And you are you. You are precious, but you are His creature, not His creator. So in the end of the day, the one who has the last word is God. So if you know you are supposed to do something and you don't do it, or at least you don't have the spiritual honesty, okay, to pray about it and actually making sure there is a plan or there is at least a momentum towards what you need to do, just know that it's not because you decide not to do it and push it aside and ignore it that everything's going to be okay. No, boo-boo, it's not. And the worst is, it's not even for God's benefit. It's for your own benefit. I don't know I can't put an example. I want it to be personal. Like if you're watching this video, you know what you need to do. And I'm not talking about legalism. I'm not talking about very picky stuff like that. No, listen, I don't want you to get into this whole societal and no, I want you to be with you and your God, with no judgment from outside the world, okay? You and your God, you know what you need to be doing. What is it that you pushed aside? What is it that you felt convicted with, that you put it on the back burner for whatever reason, because for you it was either you simply didn't want to do it, or you didn't feel ready, okay? As human beings, we're like that. We love to feel ready, or sometimes we love to also, on my part, intellectualize procrastination and simple disobedience. You have to understand one thing. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So in the end of the day, sometimes you're going to have to suck it up. Suck it up doesn't mean that you're not mindful. It just means that sometimes you just need to be mature. Being mature doesn't just apply to your financial life, to your relationships, to your adult life. It also applies to your spirituality too, okay? You are not supposed to have the same way of thinking as you as 16 years old. So as time goes by, your journey with God will be obviously it is a journey, so it's not always going to be and feel the same. And it's not about your feelings, it's about your progress. And sometimes you just need to sit down and be mature with God. You have to understand that God has never hidden anything from you. He always told you how it is, how you went, how you was. But you growing up, you started to understand things as you grew up, right? And me, why I felt convicted. Why I wanted to turn on the video is because I knew deep down in my heart that, listen, I can't be the only one in this situation. I'm going to put it out there. Initially, the reason why I wanted to start YouTube was very simple. When I was 14 years old, first of all, I just wanted to do the same thing that my other bigger sisters on YouTube did before. I was trying to learn how to take care of my hair, how makeup worked. 14, I wasn't wearing makeup, but it was around the age of like 15, 16. But when I lived in London, when I grew up and I actually started to understand English, I had an entire world opening up to me because I could understand that language in which a lot of content was being made. And very early on, so from the age of 13 to 15, 14, around that time, I knew something was growing. I was thankful, I was amazed by all the things I was learning and all the imaging, the representation. I saw girls that look like me, that were beautiful and stuff. You know, you're a teenager, you're finding yourself, you're trying to identify and stuff. I did that, but the most important thing, I had a lot more access to Christian content, to Bible audios. I had content available to me for free. Okay, I love that, and I wanted to somehow share the things that I learned as I grew. And I knew around the age of 19, 18, 20, 21, I felt the urge to make Christian content, or at least normalize what it is to be a Christian. Like me. And what do I mean by me? I'm talking about the fact that online I see a lot of extremes. And sometimes I see a lot of people trying to impose their way of living their life onto others. And I feel like this is you see your channel, you do whatever you want with it. But I just wanted to create a space where I would be unapologetically myself, while showing that, hey, even people with my kind of profile, my kind of life and mindset happen to actually believe in God. Yes, you can literally be critical, have a way of thinking, be open to listen to other people and other mindset, listen to history. For me, you have to understand that the Bible is not just, there is factual stuff, there are history, mindset lesson, there's also a lot of parabole. That's why a lot of people take things out of context, actually believe it's against science. No, actually when you actually learn how to read the Bible, you will see that a lot of stuff in there is what you call a parabole. It's not for face value. It means that there is a secret hidden behind it, right? And this is a topic for another video. If you want me to get into it in other videos, I will get into it. But I want you to understand that being from a scientific background, you also need to understand I was born in a Catholic family, but it doesn't mean that I myself believed in it. And I was very free. You have to understand that some people choose God. Some people, well, I get into it. Some people want to have a life of faith. I was not forced to live a life of faith. If this is what I wanted to express. My parents never forced me. I was the only one who was choosing to explore who is that God thing, and why would I even believe in it? What do I base myself onto for me to develop how to identify myself as a Christian? And that was a journey. And sometimes online, I didn't necessarily find someone who would have the nuances and the open-mindedness that I was seeking. I was seeking. seeking. Mind you, I live in France now, so a lot of my English has to be, I think about what I say now, which is weird. I always used to think that because I think in English, but for some reason when it comes out, I think it's due to my environment, French comes out. So there's a lot of brain juice being used right now. Have to understand one thing. I want you guys to know that why do I tell you about all this? Because me, for example, I knew that what I wanted to do on YouTube was to make sure to help other people who wanted to get closer to God, or at least who are in this Christian journey, to do well, basically. Share, feel connected with other Christians, like the family of God, brothers and sisters, the sheep, together. Because I understand the value of community, but a sane community. We're not gonna get into the human business out of it, but I'm too sad for the people who they give up on their life of faith because of the human beings that they've encountered. We all have flaws. I have mine too. And please, sometimes if you feel like there are things that you notice that you wanted to share, that constructive criticism, of course, try to be kind of polite in your ways of doing, but like try to tell me if you see that I do anything wrong or I say anything that is outside the Bible. Don't hesitate to let me know. I will try to stay humble. That's my goal, seriously. But all I want you to tell you is like me, I wanted to, simply put, I just wanted to also make sure that there were more souls, there were more human beings who felt who actually got value in exploring their faith, their Christian faith more precisely, because this is what I chose to walk on, Christianity. But I've explored other religions too. You have to understand that I actually tried to seek out what was out there. Okay? I also was an agnostic. I never was an atheist. But I believe there was a period of my life I was genuinely an agnostic and I was perfectly fine with it. And once I started to also read, have more culture, also very personal experiences. When I mean personal, I was just living my life. My life wasn't nothing dramatic happened for me to believe in God. I just happened to live my life and I got more interested in getting to know God, and I genuinely believe in the Bible it's actually said that faith is a gift of God. So I will not pretend as if I was the one who actually got up and chose God, because it's actually not something that I believe. To be honest, I do believe that it's something that He gifted me with. But that's why also I feel so much compassion for the people who are willing to try and still didn't get what they wanted from their relationship that they try to establish with God. I have a lot of love for those who are atheists and agnostics, because to me, your opinion and your way of thinking is also valuable. You have to understand that. And as long as you are respectful to others and you're living your life with love, listen, big up to you. This video, and why am I sharing that with you, is because initially my goal with this channel was to evangelize, was to make sure that genuine interaction, genuine people had another space, another opportunity, one video at a time, one content at a time, to think or having the nudge to explore that particular side of what it means to have a relationship with God. Not about the religion behind it. What does religion mean even? Religion is literally from the Greek word religare. So it just means basically being connected back to God. It just means that it's connection. It means having a connection. So you have to understand that my basics on my faith on this channel, you have to understand, it's not about, yes, I want to say whatever I want, but the thing is, this is not what I believe in. My faith to me is based on the God of the Bible, and the Bible of, in French, I read Louis II 1910. In English, I read the NIV version, the NLT version, New Living Translation, and New Living Translation is NLT, and NIV I think is like New I version. Just to tell you that. So I believe in the Bible, so this is what my faith is based on. Do I understand everything? And sometimes do I question some things? Absolutely, all the time. And this is what I love about God, is because God wants believers who don't just follow blindly stuff. They want believers who seek Him. This is actually what He said in Proverbs. He seeks a smart person in the eyes of God is not someone who will just eat up everything that they hear. No, He wants someone who genuinely seeks true meaning and understanding in Him. That's it. Okay? So if you believe in 1% of the Bible, but you're willing to carry on with that Christian thing, to God, this is what He wants. I don't want you to pretend to be. I don't want you to pretend. That's the thing I want you to do. I want you to go on your own pace, and I want you to be brutally honest with yourself, because it will help you with God, because God already knows. And that's the thing I wanted to do with my channel, to make you understand and let you know that, hey, it's not what you think it is. And it's a lot simpler than it is, but it doesn't mean that it will be any easier. I will give you that. And yeah, this is what I wanted to do. And lately, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I've been running away from this objective I had to be more vocal about my faith and being more Bible-centered, first of all in my own life, but also online. This is actually, yes, of course, I love the chit-chats, I love my life, I love living, don't worry about that. Mental health, anime, dance, all that God has to offer on this wonderful planet and on this life. But I know I've been running away from making sure to just share God with others. And growing up, I wanted to do that on YouTube. It's something that I slowly run away from. I came back very shy. I was very shy coming back on to YouTube. Now I'm getting more comfortable. But now I'm getting more comfortable. I feel like I haven't been very honest about the fact that, hey, I don't really want to talk about all of that. I don't really want to talk about God that much. And that was a problem. And I felt convicted about it, because I know what my values are, and I know what I even initially wanted to do online. This is the initial mission, but not the only thing, obviously. But I still didn't want to shy away from that reality of my life. So reading that, I knew that I can't listen. This life of faith, you also need to be responsible about what you know you need to do. As Christians, what we are called to do is being closer to God through engraving His word in our hearts, which is something that I know I'm not as serious about it as I should be, compared to the energy I invest on a lot of other stuff, which are very important. I just know that the word is something that I put in a back burner. It's not something that I do with a lot of intent. When I mean intent, it means that you don't have to spend an hour doing it. But if you enclose 5 minutes, those 5 minutes you need to be there, present. You need to be the best moment of your day. And this is for you and God. This word is in you. You do something with it, or you're consistent with it. And I know I haven't been consistent with that. So I felt convicted, because I knew that's something I need to improve on, and also about the entire thing about also using social media and my platform to just share, not just to share that with someone who would need it, that hey, just know there's other human beings who experience life with you, and they also experienced God. They also read the Bible, and they also went through all kind of stuff in their journey to there. But hey, you're not the only one, and let's work on it together, and I hope it will help you. That was supposed to be my mission I ran away from. Okay? And I'm acknowledging it, and trust me, 5 minutes, maybe 35 minutes ago, I didn't want to acknowledge it. I wanted to run away from it. I just wanted to read that part, leave the chat of my church. It's actually a channel. They just post stuff, and you read what you want. And that last bit, that word, I was like, I want to close my Bible. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I feel like what I simply want to do, I just want to be a Christian, an authentic Christian. It doesn't mean that other Christians are fake. Hey, I'm not saying that. I'm just mean that, hey, you can be yourself and still choose God. And it can be messy, it can be brutally honest, but it's beautiful. And I want to, even if it's a drop in the ocean, I still want that my existence shows you that, hey, it is beautiful to be messy, authentic, raw, brutally honest, and still covered with God's grace. And I want you to also know that truth and know that you're not the only one. And I'm not going to shy away anymore from these topics and this side of life that I clearly want to center back into who I am. And what will help me is, I don't like the word, but it is what it is. It is evangelizing. Evangelizing is literally means that you bring souls back to Jesus, or at least that you share God with others. Mind you, I'm not in the business enforcing myself on my opinion and stuff. I'm just sharing my experience, and I'm basing myself on the Bible. Okay, the Bible. I will also have a disclaimer. This channel is always going to be about people who read their Bible. Okay, I'm not basing myself on the opinions of other human beings who think one revelation after the other. Okay, my standard is the Bible. So this is my channel, my business. So if you want to do other business with other people's gospels, with other human beings' Bible, just know that there are other spaces on the internet, and you also can have an internet connection to create your own channel and create your own kind, but out in here we base ourselves on the Bible and the Bible only. So if you have something to say, please base yourself on the Bible and the Bible of God. So for my English speakers, I base myself on the NLT, NIV. For my French people, Louis II, 1910. So yeah, okay. So that was it. I hope my computer is going to log all the video in, because sometimes it tends to gray out everything. I pray it will go. Okay, bye. Thank you for listening. As always, mind your business, drink your water, eat your veggies, your greens, and of course, as always, take care of yourself. Bye. Bye, 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 bye.